What is going on, baseball fans? We are back at it once again here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast, bringing you our annual series coverage on the state of the franchise. The franchise that we're going to be discussing today is none other than the very first team in Major League Baseball, and that's why they have a home game to start the year every single year, and it is that of the Cincinnati Reds. And to join me in discussing this historic franchise, we have none other than Rentz and TJ. How's it going, guys?
What's up? Thanks for having us back.
Good. Yeah, happy to be back.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. So before we dive into the 2026 campaign, kind of some early thoughts and feelings on how the 2025 season went for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of what we expected. We were a wild card contender. 83 wins got us in, thanks to the Mets. So that was pretty nice. We got a little taste of the playoffs. Obviously met a giant with the Dodgers in the first round and got smacked around a little bit. But it was kind of what we expected. Some frustrating parts. The offense wasn't great, but pitching was there. And, I think TJ and I both said wild card contender. So,
yeah, I think I remember last year figure out how to get there and have Hunter Green on the mound game one and see what happens. And we got there and we saw what happened, unfortunately, like home cooking and just didn't pan out. But I mean, it's kind of what we predicted. I know we went to a couple games together last year, but we hit on the over of over 80 wins. So that was nice. But yeah, I think, I don't know, foreshadowing this, probably a lot of the same, hoping for a wild card and see what happens. But obviously we can get into that, and I think the pitching's a lot better this year too. So hopefully a couple young guys with growth puts us in a better spot this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, kind of getting into that. There were some acquisitions that were made by you guys this offseason. Obviously, re-signing Emilio Pagan is a big one. And then kind of, made some different moves. We're part of a three-team trade for Brock Burke. Got Nate Myers from the Marlins. Caleb Ferguson was signed. JJ Bleday was signed. So of the acquisitions that you guys made this offseason, which one was kind of the one that stood out most for you?
I'll say I'll jump in here. And the first one for me is the thought of signing Kyle Schwarber. That was really fun for us. We really thought we had that one in the bag. But no, after that, the pivot, which was pretty nice, was Eugenio Suarez, welcoming him back to Cincinnati. Obviously, he missed on Kyle Schwarber, which we desperately needed a power bat. So that was really nice how they actually pivoted, found something that made sense for them. With a clubhouse guy that's familiar with Cincinnati, loves the city, and infield depth with a lot of power. So that's cool. I'm really happy about that. And then they did focus a lot on the pen, like you mentioned, with Pagan, Pierce Johnson, Ferguson, Brock Burke. So it was really it was those two signings, or not those two signings, but the bullpen revamp almost. A lot of new guys there, and then Suarez signing really that was the two major things for me.
Yeah, I mean, Suarez, when we originally planned on doing this, there was a whole lot. Mine says yikes in my notes. So, but I was kind of holding out hope that something would happen. So, I mean, Suarez obviously massive for 4-hole for us every day. And I mean, someone's got to hit some home runs. So hopefully it can be him. But I think, like to Rentz's point, everyone wanted Schwarber. I mean, you could argue you're getting close to the same player with actually some defensive abilities. I mean, Schwarber obviously would have clogged up DH every single day, no matter what. So I, again, would prefer Schwarber, but I think Suarez, like everyone loves him here. He's going to be a big reason why Bob sells tickets is what his whole goal was with Schwarber anyway. So we'll see. Glad it happened this last week.
Yeah, good vibes only.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, when you think back to Eugenio's time with the Cincinnati Reds, it was some of the best years of his career. Yep. I mean, you figure he had his, best output of the season, outside of tying it last year with 49 home runs when he was in Cincy. So definitely an opportunity to go back to some familiar grounds. We know that ballpark can sometimes play to be a bit more hitter friendly, especially for a guy like Eugenio. So definitely a big move there. Now, it can't all be positive vibes when it comes to the injury front, and we see a lot of injuries in baseball right now. So is there an injury that you guys are kind of keeping aware of, or somebody that you're, always fearful of when it comes to the injury front?
Yeah, I can take that one. I mean, the best thing so far is the answer is no on who's actually injured. I mean, there was an article out today about how the health, there's been no drama in terms of holdouts. Arbitration was good or settled with Stevenson and Ashcraft, and then no injuries. To me, I mean, it's Lodolo. That's the question mark every single year. I mean, I know he was in the trade rumor mill. Like he has very good potential to be like our 1B, but can the blisters stay away? I mean, there's so many questions every single year with him. So that'd be my first one. And then you have Louder coming back, who was the massive injury last year. So I think that's a big question mark. All the Cincinnati beat reporters are like saying he's the 5th spot right now, which is kind of crazy. I think it's a little bit of clickbait, but someone's going to get hurt. So the fact that you have him and Burns battling for 5, I think the injuries will work that out.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I mean, no injuries. Thank the Lord. Knock on wood again. But I think the only other one that we looked at, and I'll touch upon it later, was Ellie's quad. Hopefully that's been fully healed. Get him back to that first half that he put up. So, but yeah, I mean, pretty healthy going into 2026.
Yeah, and that's always, a good spot. I mean, we've seen a lot of injuries already over these first coming couple of days. Pitchers and catchers reporting today as we record this particular episode. And, got a lot of guys right now dealing with hamate injuries and broken hamate. So having that health is very important. So no doubt about it, being able to go in, as we said, knock on wood, but being able to have that clean bill of health is definitely a positive sign. Now, speaking of positive signs, when it comes to the 2026 X Factor, who's the guy that really is standing out for each of you guys?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I think this team is going to go, where they end the season is going to be dictated by Matt McLain. We saw a different Matt McLain in 2025 than we did his rookie year in 2023, which was obviously, a little short, a little small at the sample size, but he looked incredible. Lost all of 24 with the shoulder injury, came back last year, kind of looked lost at the plate, forcing a lot, striking out a lot. And I mean, a lot of Reds fans, myself included, I'm a big Matt McLain guy. We're kind of asking what happened. When is Terry going to take him? Francona going to take him out of the lineup? Because you kept him in the 2-hole for a while and it was just not working. But if he can get back to what we saw, even less than what we saw his rookie campaign, this team can be something special and contend for the Central. But yeah, he's where I think this team goes. He goes as far as he can take it.
Yeah, I think mine is actually a little bit different. I love the Suarez pickup too, just because he can play the field like we talked about. And I really think who I said last year was Steer, because he's going to have to play every day. Didn't turn out as great as we were looking for. So kind of on the same topic, I think Steer can spare McLain a little bit more. So what I said for this one was Marte. I think it's Marte because there's no competition. He's going to play right field every day. Probably versus righty and lefties. I know Rentz and I have talked about it a little bit. We're kind of been debating that one, but I think he's going to play every day. I think how they're talking about putting him in center field already, like that worries me a little bit. But because of that, I think, to me, outside of Ellie, stating the obvious, I mean, the whole team's going to ride if Ellie does or doesn't pull through. I think Marte, because they're kind of pencil him in as the 2-hole and then playing right field or center field every single day, I think that's going to be huge. And I mean, middle pointer last year, people were talking about DFA him, and now he had a good finish to the year, and we're talking about him in the 2-hole every single day. So I think that's a huge question mark, but that's why I think that would be the X factor for the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in lockstep with you there, TJ. Noelvi is the guy that I pegged as the X factor for you guys as well. I think everybody's going to be looking to see, Ellie have that MVP caliber type season, but it's going to be guys like Noelvi that come in behind him and be able to kind of facilitate that opportunity. Guys like Matt McLean are definitely going to have to take that step forward. But I think that when you look at the finish that Marte had going into now this 2026 campaign, if he can ride that wave of momentum, I think that there's a very good opportunity for him to really become a household name for you guys. So without a doubt, I think that Marte is definitely the guy that I'm kind of penciling and taking a look at.
He's been hanging out with J-Ram in the offseason too, so who knows?
Hey, got to learn from him.
Yeah, I do like Marte a lot. I mean, he's got the arm to play. Like, obviously, he switched from third base to right field last year. Did it pretty well. Has a cannon, and so I'll be interested to see if he can actually. I don't know if it's smoke that they're moving him to center or like having him play a little in center. I don't know what's going on with that, but if he can figure out how to hit righties a little better, or sorry, not righties, lefties. That would be the tell for me if he can be like an everyday player, especially in the 2-hole, because I do like Marte a lot. And there is a lot, like TJ said, there's a lot of fans in Cincinnati that are a little quick to jump on Marte. But I think he's got a lot of potential. So let's hope.
No doubt. And when it comes to potential, as we kind of transition into this next section, looking at the top prospect for the organization, can you guys tell us a little bit about him and kind of what you're expecting out of the top prospect for Cincy this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I took it a little bit different route. I think how it's rated is Sal is the top prospect, still falls into that bucket. Obviously, he just got his cup of coffee at the end of last year. But, he's going to be first base every day, probably behind Suarez. So that's on paper who the number one is. I didn't write down a whole lot about him. I think it's just kind of known that he's going to be there, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, fingers crossed to catch him hot early, like he came out the gate. But outside of that, I was going to go back to Louder. I think he still obviously qualifies as prospect, and his stuff was nasty. They drafted him that high. They obviously love their Wake Forest pitchers with Burns and Louder. So that's who I'm most excited to see who makes an impact as a prospect, if you will. Because again, Sal will be in there every day.
Yeah. Then I've got Alfredo Duno, who we are a little thin at catcher in our pipeline, and he's getting up there. I think he might be our second ranked prospect now. But you just look at him. He looks like Salvador Perez. Call him Young Salvi. He's actually been working with him in the offseason, both from Venezuela. So I have a lot. I really like him, and he just looks like a catcher. And every time I see his swing, I see clips about it. He's got some real pop. He's still 20, just 20 years old. So I'm very excited to see that, because we are getting into a very interesting spot with catcher. Tyler Stevenson is on his last year of his contract. Don't really know what that's going to look like. And then we obviously have Trevino, but they could move Duno up quickly. I think he's going to start in Dayton, could possibly see Chattanooga, and then maybe 2027 might see him in there.
Yeah, no, definitely something to pay attention to, as an organization like Cincinnati is not going out and necessarily spending at the top of the market. So being able to build from within is definitely how you strengthen this core. And you figure the core of this team is all homegrown talent. So there's no doubt about it. Being able to continue that pipeline is the way to go. Now, as we get into kind of the fun little section here, a bold prediction for the Cincinnati Reds for this upcoming 2026 season.
Yeah, I'll do a little heat check real quick, because last year I will go back to last year. I predicted Ellie to hit 35 plus home runs and drop his strikeout rate from 31% to 25%. He did drop his strikeout percentage to 25.9. Only ended the season with, I think, 22 home runs. But after that quad strain, or that partially torn quad, his power completely dropped off. If you look at his first half stats versus second half, it's insane. He had 18 home runs going into or at the end of June. And if on that same clip, you're looking at home runs per at bat, if he would have kept that, stayed healthy, would have put him at 30 home runs. And he actually had a 24.3% strikeout rate in the first half. So I'm just saying, I wasn't that far off. I think
not far off at all.
Far off. And so I really liked what we saw at Ellie, and I think we'll see more of that. Hopefully, if he stays healthy, I think we'll see more of that as he continues to grow as a player at the plate. So very excited to see what he can do. But I've got 3 for you.
Okay.
Mild to hot to scorching. And so you shoot them down if you don't think they're hot enough, but mild is Reds will have a top 5 rotation and a top 10 bullpen.
Okay.
That one very possible with the rotation. Bullpen, I think, will surprise people. I think the bullpen is very deep, and we have a few guys, even if people get injured, like May, Maxwell, Brandon Williamson might even be in the pen, so we'll see what happens there. I have hot, both Sal Stewart and Eugenio Suarez hit for 30-plus home runs. That will be the first time a Red, not multiple Reds, a single Red will eclipse 30 home runs since 2021, where 3 people did it, and Suarez was one of them. So that will be something to watch for. I think Sal Stewart has some pop that will showcase, and that leads into my scorching one. Sal Stewart, hitting 5th, will lead the team in RBIs and win NL Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Bold. Yeah. Rentz kind of took my thunder on the bold prediction, but mine's pretty. I'd put it in the scorching category because of how young he is. But I think Duno as a starting catcher by the end of the year, because I like everything you said already, but it more goes to Stevenson's had some questionable comments in the last 2 days. He's not getting any conversations about extensions. And I truly think the way the offseason went, we need a bat and a closer. We need an outfield bat and we need a closer. And Stevenson, to me, is a hitting catcher that you look at catchers in the league and it's just, maybe you got the top 5 that can actually hit, and it's such a defensive position. So I don't know. I think I could see us moving him, and then all we have is Trevino, and it's pretty depleted after that. So went bold. Probably not very likely, but just how the logistics might work out. I could see us trading Stevenson. I could see us trading Singer. Those would be the 2 people I'd see us moving. So if we do that and Duno's hot, he was hitting 450 feet bombs in the winter league he was playing in. So again, really young, but I think there's no one ahead of him. So he kind of by default will be that person.
Yeah, no, definitely can see that happening in terms of being a bold take. So my bold take for Cincy is kind of piggybacking a little bit on Rentz's as well. But I think Ellie's going to go off this year. I think he's going to have a 40-40 season and finish top 5 in the NL MVP. So that's going to be my bold take for the Reds. And I think if that happens, you guys are going to be in a very good position overall.
Yeah, that would be nice. Love that.
All right, so now as we look towards the organization itself, what is the biggest question you have facing the team and facing the organization in 2026?
Yeah, I think biggest question, and when it comes to just day-to-day, is can we hit home runs? At the end of the day, strikeout in home run league, and I think we'll have the strikeouts in terms of pitching, but we'll probably hitting too with Suarez back. But I was pulling some of the projections again. Love or hate some of the places you pull it from. We were talking about that today, but in the Central specifically, Cubs have 6 players projected to hit 20 bombs, Brewers 3, Pirates 3, and us and the Cardinals tied with 2 players projected to hit 20 home runs, and that is because we just picked up Suarez. When we were writing these notes originally, it's you can write down Ellie, and outside of that, it's you could talk yourself into McLean. Last year we were sitting here preaching CES, who won't even make the team this year. It really is a big question. And for your Yankees, they have 7 players projected to hit over 20 and 6 of them projected to hit over 25. It's just in these games that we get into, that's what I don't have the exact stat. We were actually texting about that. But when the Reds hit a home run last year, I think it was something like 13 to 15 games over 500. And when we didn't, it was like 20 games under 500. And it was just even too many games in itself, how many games we didn't hit home runs, the way the MLB is right now. So, again, just the lack of power is pretty scary, especially in Great American. Like, that's the place people want to come. And we got a lot of average guys out there in terms of like Blade and Myers that we picked up. Again, like they're more of that platoon guys. So it's just that I think is a huge question in terms of just day-to-day production.
Yeah, and TJ, that stat, it was the Reds were 58 and 36 in games they homered last year, 25 and 43 when they didn't. So pretty big. I mean, obviously, home runs equals runs. That makes sense, but with pretty drastic difference there. Yeah. So if we can add,
but they're rally killers. So
Barry Larkin would say a bunch of rally killers. I think my biggest question is, we kind of touched upon it a little bit with the platoon guys, but can the outfield produce? So we talked about Marte. If he can become an everyday player, then you have Friedel. Friedel's been very consistent. I'm not worried about Friedel. He is getting relatively old compared to the rest of the team. And then in left, you have a combination of Steer and Blade. And then you have Myers and Will Benson, who are probably one of those three. Blade, Myers, and Benson might not make the team. I think there's an odd man out there. Don't know which one. But is that outfield combination going to produce offense and consistently? I think that is a very questionable spot for the Reds. So I'm very curious to see how it's managed by Francona, whether he goes platoon heavy or he rides the hot hand. But that's my biggest question mark for the team this year going into 26.
Yeah, so I kind of have a question that I see in terms of examining the organization from the outside, and I'd like to get your guys' take on it. For me, the question that I have is, was 2025 a fluke season in terms of making the postseason, or is this team, bound for another postseason trip in 2026 as presently constructed?
Go ahead.
All right, I mean, just the number of wins, I think you could obviously ask that question. We got in at 83 wins. If the Mets don't fumble, it's like, it's no question. So I think this year it's going to take 86, probably 87. So I mean, that's a 4-win improvement. I don't think it's a fluke just because the starting pitching in the bullpen, like the staff that we have every fifth day, like I find it hard to believe we're losing 5 straight games. Granted, if we only score 1 run a game like we did last year, I mean, we went some weeks where we scored 7 total runs. Like that's the big question we keep talking about. But with Tito being back, with Suarez coming back, like I don't think it's a fluke of how many wins we had. Now, if the 6th seed wins 90 games, then we're not making the playoffs. So I think, to me, it's more about the win total than what we can really control about the playoffs, because I don't know. I think the National League is pretty deep. I think American League is a little more top heavy, but I think National League's pretty deep. And like Braves won 77 games last year, I think, and now they're projected at 89. Like there's a whole nother player in there that we weren't even worried about last year. So I think it's valid, but I think it's on the right trajectory.
Yeah, and I think you could say, like TJ said, the 83 wins. Yeah, I mean, does an 83 team win make the last wild card spot this year? Probably not. It doesn't happen very often. But the team also, offensively, you could say almost everyone took a step back last year. Does that happen again? No. So you could almost say it was a fluke in the opposite way, where they should have been better than what they were. And I'm rarely being positive about the Reds right now, but I do think last year, I think we'll see some positive progression with a lot of things. And if Ellie stays healthy, like you said, I don't know why this team couldn't win another 4 or 5 games. We touched upon the home run stat. You had Suarez in there. If he hits 35 home runs, you could add 4 wins right there.
Yeah.
You probably add more. So I think with this rotation, with the addition of Burns or Louder in that everyday 5th spot, a deeper bullpen, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a fluke, and I think the projections and most beat writers are going to be surprised about where the Reds are at the end of the year.
And I'd say that one thing I'd say that's this year. I mean, the scary part is, well, the good thing is we have these guys that are now in year 3 and 4. Like talk to us in 2 years, and these guys, like we haven't paid anybody yet. So McLean's either gone, Steer's either gone. God knows Ellie's going to be a Dodger in about 3 years. So it's just like now we can start talking about fluke. But I think the window is currently this year, next year, which is what we'll probably get into the next question. Like biggest frustration is this is the window. So why aren't we going out and spending it now when we're not really paying anybody? I think Ellie's making $750 again this year. So, yeah, I don't know. Fluke this year? No. Fluke in 3 years? Probably, yeah.
All right, and that leads perfectly into that. What is the biggest frustration for the fan base?
Yeah, I think to put it simply, where did the Schwarber money go? Go out and offer all this money. They obviously back-ended it last week to getting Suarez back, but it's just like the spiel was we wanted to put butts in seats, and that's why we were signing him, not to put a winner on the field. It's just like the communication from management and having the tight purse strings when the Pirates of all teams are out there saying they have all this money to spend. It's like, why can't we be spending the money that they are? Now, I don't want to sit here and complain about ownership, but it is just like more transparency on where that money went specifically, and just getting aggressive with the window that we're in. I think I kind of summed up my frustrations in the last question.
Yeah. Jumping on that window of opportunity is something that's really frustrating. We have all these young guys. I mean, I feel like that's what small market clubs have to do, and the Reds rarely have done it. And like TJ said, obviously we're in that competition for Schwarber. Was Schwarber actually ever going to be a Red? He had hometown ties.
No.
But I don't think he ever was. I think the Phillies loved him. The Phillies fans loved him. He loved Philly. Like, I think that always kind of made sense. I was very hopeful for it, but probably was never going to happen. But the Reds said they were, the $30 million on the table, and they had room to go more, is what they said. So would like to see them I would have liked to see them add another proven player to this team, but it is what it is. I think my biggest frustration is the Reds had this random come to God moment of focusing on defense last year in a park that is notoriously small. And so they wanted to play a small ball approach and then focus on defense when you're playing 81 games at Great American Ballpark. I don't understand that philosophy. Obviously that trade for Brian Hayes, he can flash the leather. He's incredible in the field. I mean, there's no question to it. Does stuff that I've never seen, or at least haven't seen Brandon Phillips in Great American. But with his back injury, his bat, his contract didn't make sense for us. Still think he's a solid player, but didn't really make sense at the time. But again, focusing on that defense and that defensive first mentality. So that is probably my biggest frustration. It's just a weird philosophy when it comes to what they're looking for. And then at the end of the day, I hate the ownership group. I think they are the worst. I will die on that hill. Bob Cassidy, Phil Castellini just absolutely have tarnished their image, and I don't think they can repair it in Cincinnati. I know we talked about it last year, but where are you going to go? They've really, really put some damage on fans and their perception. Like, went to a Xavier game, got booed. He can't do anything without getting booed, and I don't know what they need to do. Like, I don't know if winning a World Series would take that off his plate. Like, I think they would still boo him. I would.
Yeah, and Rentz tweeted it last week, but since they expanded to 30 teams, the Reds have 2 playoff wins. I mean, and I was talking to my dad about it over the weekend. He's like, credit to you and your buddies for still grinding this out and being as big a diehard fans as you guys are. Like, I don't know, there's not many outside of our friend group that I know are just diehard, into as much as we are. We're still sickos about them, but it's like I talked about this last year. My son was just born. I was like, I'm still raising him to be a Reds fan. Like, I almost feel guilty. But who knows? Lockout coming, floor ceiling, maybe things will improve and that changes things, which for teams like us, hopefully it does. But I mean, we're gonna be competitive. It's just, again, wish they wanted it as much as we did.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think, especially amongst some of the smaller market clubs, I feel like that's a kind of a growing sentiment around the game, that the fans are living and breathing and dying with every pitch. And the ownership group is like, yeah, how much of this money can I stuff in my pocket? So it definitely feels like a disconnect, across the board. Now, as we kind of jump into, breaking down the team a bit, what would you guys grade out the offense for Cincinnati in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, before the Suarez signing, I had them at a C- to a C. Kind of choosing to be conservative, I'm going to go C to C+ with that. I think he kind of increases it by half a grade point. It's a lineup based on hope. We've got young players. We have McLean, Stewart, Marte that we're hoping to be consistent at the plate. You hope that Marte can develop into that everyday player. You hope that Ellie takes that step to be a bona fide superstar. So it's really just based on this hope that they're going to continue to develop, which, sure, that's great. But, I mean, you look at any kind of projections, doesn't really play. They don't like that. So
yeah,
the thing they don't really have an identity either. They used, 2 years ago, they were top 3 in the league in stolen bases. They were menaces on the base path. Last year, I think they were middle of the pack with 105. So they don't steal as much. They don't really get on base consistently. They don't hit power. So they just kind of lack an identity. I would like to see them get a little more crazy on the base pass, use some speed from Ellie, McLean, Steer even, use that speed, but just want to see a little more consistency because, like TJ mentioned earlier, we went through some stretches where it was terrible to watch, brutal to watch these games. You would go into the 6th inning, you had 1 hit, and you're talking back-to-back games, back-to-back series of 6 games of 3 hits, 1 run, 2 hits, 0 runs, and your pitching staff throws a, I don't know, 7 inning shutout, 7 shutout innings with 11 Ks, and you're like, just one. We just need one to get on the base, get on the bases, make a little chaos happen. You have Ellie, that's what he does. So I would say a C to C+. Hopefully it can be better, but we'll see.
Yeah, I said C+ as well. I think it's we're projected 21st in runs created plus. So, I mean, C, probably C+. One point I was going to say on that, the runs, we would score 20 runs the next game. Whenever we scored, we had probably three or four games I can remember we scored over 12 runs, and we're all texting each other please stop scoring. We need something tomorrow. It was crazy. Our run differential, I remember texting, we were +5 3 months in, and I'm those are all coming from, we won one game 21-2, won another one 17-1, something like that. So yeah, hopefully we can spread them out this year, but I think we were dead on. Same grading on both of these, so I think C to C+.
Yeah, I mean, all three of us are in lockstep. I had it as a C+ as well. I think that the addition of Suarez really does help give it a boost a bit. Ellie taking that next step is going to be a big factor in the success of the Reds in 2026. And it's going to be, like we said, the guys like Steer, McLean, Marte, taking that next step, taking that, a next field approach in terms of being able to understand what pitchers are going to try to do to them in the box and be able to, have an answer and combat that. So, yeah, I think we're all in lockstep there without a doubt. Now, when it comes to the pitching staff, how do you guys feel about the pitching staff?
Yeah, I'll jump on this one. I was B+ to A-. Again, I think I'm pretty optimistic. Not trying to get too over optimistic on the pitching. I think we'll probably settle somewhere in the middle. Offense might surprise us a little bit, and who knows, we might have some regressions because everyone really did ball out last year. I mean, when Hunter was healthy, I mean, arguably top 5 pitcher. Abbott came out of nowhere, obviously an all-star, not out of nowhere, but I mean, really shot up the rankings there. Lodolo, we already talked about. If he's healthy, he's nasty. And then Burns or Louder, that mix. And then again, I'm the lowest on Singer myself. Just when I watch, I'm always like closing my eyes because I don't think his ball moves that much, and it always stays pretty flat. But again, the guy eats innings. Like if he's your 5th, I think a lot of teams will take him as the 5th, especially breaking down like the National League Central stats. I went to like the Brewers and really couldn't name their 4 and 5s right now. They'll probably win 15 games each, but I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic. And that was even just the starters. I think the bullpen, you really get to like name 8 or 9 before you're pretty scared. I mean, Sam Maul might not make this team, who was our go-to lefty. He shouldn't make the team. So he was our go-to lefty out of the pen, and now he's not going to make the team. That's a big reason why I think we've raised our floor this year. So again, I'm obviously pretty optimistic. I'd say B+ to A-.
Yep, and I'm 100% in agreement there. I think the rotation is gross, and TJ mentioned him. Andrew Abbott, I think I said this last year. Continue like everything that should like says that he shouldn't be great. He's incredible. Everything he just does things right when he's out there and doesn't blow you away with anything, but just crafty. I love watching Andrew Abbott pitch. So I think he is one of those guys that you don't. He did kind of get a little bit of notoriety last year, but if you get a chance to watch him pitch, he's a menace on the mound. But yeah, the bullpen, you have 11 guys that can probably make the roster, and that's awesome. Like having a deep bullpen, and the injuries will happen. Having guys that you can kind of just bring up from Louisville, replace any injury for a period of time is super nice. But I do feel very comfortable going in with the bullpen. Obviously, every year that's a little fluky year to year, but on paper, this is a very, very solid bullpen and a very, very good starting rotation.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, we're in lockstep. I had it as a B+ as well. I really do like your starting rotation a lot, to the point where in our top 10 right now, series for starting pitching, I had Hunter Green as my number 9 pitcher overall in the game right now. And Coach Ken Anderson, who was on that video with me, had Abbott as one of his honorable mentions. So no doubt about it. I mean, when you look at what this starting staff could be for Cincinnati, it really could be where this team is really built upon. And as you said, that bullpen is looking very, very deep this year. So without a doubt, if they can get some, kind of career years out of some guys in that pen as well, there's no doubt that this team could really do some impressive things from the pitching perspective. But like we said, it's going to come down to the offense being able to give them enough run support to be able to make those pitching lines stand up.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think talked about it earlier too, but closer is what you can get at the deadline easier than anything else. I mean, the Padres getting Mason Miller, I think it's his name.
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm pretty sure he projected number 1 closer. It's like they just got him at the deadline. I just couldn't believe the A's let him go. But it's just something like that. Teams are going to be shipping off. And I was going to say Luis May is my one. I can't wait to watch. He might not make the team, but he's one of those guys that in the postseason, the Dodgers bring in some guy and you're like, who is this? And he's throwing 101, 102, and just like, yeah, he's wild as can be right now, but I love watching him when he's pitching. So I think that'd be a cool guy to watch this year too.
Yeah, if he can find the zone, he's going to be something to watch. I would love to see him take over that closer role, but you got to get the control.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be the biggest part when it comes to the relievers is that control. And so now as we kind of get towards the end here, looking at the divisional ranking predictions. So both of the Pacoda and Fangraphs are as of February 10th. Both have you basically at the same spot, 4th in the division. Pacoda has the standings at 79 and 83, and Fangraphs has it at 78.5 and 83.5. So essentially the same record. Where do you guys see the Reds landing in terms of the division, and kind of what does that overall record look like for the season?
Yeah, it's
Tell FanDuel to move that over/under down.
Yeah, that's true. Just say it's good that nerds don't actually play baseball, because I think that is crazy to me. I don't understand how this team, on paper, takes 4 games back. I does not. I touched on it earlier with the offense being as bad as it was last year and us still putting up 83 wins. It doesn't make sense to me. I have us as, again, a wild card contender and possible division winner if the offense actually clicks and kind of progresses. Cubs are going to be good. The Pirates got better. They spent some money. Their rotation is going to be very good. Yeah. The Brewers didn't get better on paper, but they will still be competitive. That's just who they are. It doesn't make sense, but they're going to absolutely ruin their life. And then the Cardinals are rebuilding, but they're not a bad team at all. They're retooling pretty well. I think they'll probably rebuild pretty quickly. They're a good franchise, so I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think. I think the NL Central is going to be very competitive. And I think last year we said only one team was going to make the playoffs. 3 did. Kind of wild. That came out of nowhere. But I think the teams that we talked about, the bullpen, the starting rotation is good enough to get them to 80, low 80 wins. If the offense can be good, if Ellie can have close to an MVP year, if Suarez is hitting 30 home runs, there's no reason they can't win 87 and compete with whoever's at the top, probably the Cubs, for the division championship.
Yeah. And I just, again, getting back to like win totals, I think at the end of the day, you look at last year, who got better. I mean, and then I was looking at the over-unders too. I mean, they have the Dodgers at 103.5 now. I think they shatter that personally. I think they're the best team ever created. One I wasn't so hot on, the Braves are 89.5. They won 77 games last year. So it's just some of the, like, for instance, point, the nerd stats out there to me is like, what did they do to go up 11 wins? Again, some of it just is a little surprising to me. So again, after all that, I think those top 5 are going to be Dodgers, Phillies, Cubs, Mets, Padres, and then us, Brewers, D-backs, Giants, who I'm a big Tony B fan, so I'm actually probably going to be rooting for them outside of us in the NL. But I think it's going to be like that 86, 87 gets you in. So I personally am higher on the Cubs. I think they kind of not run away with it, but I don't see how we can compete with that offense all year long. So I'd put us in the wild card spot. And again, sneak on in and have Hunter on the mound game 1 and hope and pray the Dodgers aren't the 3 seed and see what happens.
No, it definitely. So what I'll say is in my predictions, kind of going through the league, I have you guys at 3rd in the division with 84 to 86 wins, kind of that range. Probably will settle in the middle and call it 85 wins. I think that you guys are going to be on the precipice of, a wild card berth, but I think it's going to be a lot tougher this year to get in the NL than, what we saw last year. And I think that there's just so many more teams that are, kind of in that mix for that, 5th, 6th spot in the postseason. But I do think you guys are one of those teams. So now as we kind of bring it to the end here and kind of the state of the franchise, where do you guys see the 2026 Cincinnati Reds at?
Right there, trying to sneak on in like we root for and tweet about at the end of the year all year. So I think that's where we're at. See where the offense can take us. But again, I think that summarizes it. Our pitching is going to keep us there. And probably come down to, I haven't looked at the schedule, but I'm sure we'll be playing the Brewers last week of the year again and come down to that.
Yeah, I think it's just 3 words. It's meaningful September baseball. Just keep us happy and entertained until football season. I want to make the playoffs, obviously, but just let's have a good year where we are caring for baseball in September, because the amount of years that we've had in Cincinnati where we don't have that, and it's something special. Like last year when we were piecing together wins at the end of the season, we'll also watching the Mets and the Diamondbacks. It was pretty electric downtown. We have a huge Oktoberfest in Cincinnati, and we had a big series that weekend, and massive crowds there, and it was electric. There was a buzz throughout the city, and it's way more fun when the Cincinnati Reds are competitive and making a run to the playoffs. So just hoping for meaningful baseball.
No, for sure. And just to give you a little bit of peace of mind, TJ, the final series of the year for Cincinnati is a road trip to Toronto. So,
great.
Hey,
the last time you'll face a division opponent, it'll be the Cubs, and that'll be your last homestand of the year, the 18th through the 20th of September.
Okay. Hey, Blue Jays will have it locked up, and they'll just hand it over to us.
There you go. So I want to thank you guys for joining me once again. This is always a fun conversation with you guys, knowing as much as you do and being so passionate about Cincinnati Reds baseball. And we would definitely want to hear from you baseball fans down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the 2026 Cincinnati Reds, and where will they land this upcoming season? Make sure you keep it locked in here to the Baseball Banter Broadcast by hitting the subscribe button and the bell for post notifications. So each and every time we drop new content here, like the state of the franchise, as we get to covering all 30 teams in Major League Baseball, you're not going to want to miss it. And so I want to thank you guys again for joining me. Let everybody know where they can see more content from you guys in terms of, Cincinnati Reds baseball and conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having us again. Go Red Legs. My Twitter, which is a handle right there at Anthony Rentz, and I'll be writing articles, maybe a couple per week, once a week for Baseball Banter Broadcast, and so I'll be putting out some content throughout the season, keeping everyone on their toes and keeping up with my misery of being a fan of a very, very average franchise.
Yep, mine's mostly Instagram and Twitter, so TJ Marklay is where all my stuff's at. But yeah, just living vicariously through every single pitch, sweating it out. My whole family does the same thing, so yeah, we love it. And like Ren said, hopefully average can get us to get us back into the postseason, because yeah, it was electric the end. And my family actually, mom, dad, and sister took off to LA to go to the whole homestand, just dropped stuff what they were doing and took off to go see him. So again, hopefully get us to football season, and downtown will be a good time. So looking forward to opening day as well with the Red Sox being in town. So we'll be sold out and it'll be a good time.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned, Cincinnati is the first franchise. That's why they always get a home game to start the year. And with good reason. There's a lot of enjoyment and a lot of excitement that could potentially be on the way for the 2026 Cincinnati Reds. So again, I want to thank you guys for joining. I want to thank you guys for watching here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.